We are live, Unoriginal FC back in the cut, and I'm pulling up to you guys with a quick little preview for the Premier League opener, Manchester United versus Fulham. First game to kick off the new Premier League season. Listen, man, Manchester United will always move the needle, you know. They'll always move the needle. We're forever the big boys. We could be trash for life. Niggas gonna still pull up to watch us. That's a fact. Best believe. So I ain't surprised to see us be the opening fixture of the Premier League season. But Fulham at home. Listen, it could be a very tricky test for us. A very tricky test for us. Fulham last season were a team that provided us a lot of problems. Well, to be fair, every team last season provided us a lot of problems because we were horrible last season. Right? But Fulham, they came to Old Trafford to beat us. I believe it was 2-1, 3-1. I think it was 3-1. Great performance from the team. A Welby with a winner. So listen, Fulham. They've always been a team that provided United a tough game. They've added in some new players. Emil Smith-Rowe. I believe they still kept a hold of Paulinho somehow. So listen, Fulham are they could be a very tricky test for us today. Opening game this season and all. But to be honest, me being the pessimist that I usually am, especially when it comes to United, because they've let me down so many times and, they fielded a lot of players that I haven't particularly ever rated. I'm actually going into the season with optimism. I think we're going to see a good performance from a good United team today. I think being a home team with that crazy crowd behind you, listen, they're going to be pumped up full of adrenaline. They made a lot of signings. Not many of them are starting. De Ligt is on the bench, Xerxes on the bench. I am a bit confused by Xerxes being on a bench, especially when we have no recognised striker starting at the moment. We're going with Mount and Bruno up front for United. Not the biggest fan of that because clearly they're not strikers and Xerxes is an actual striker. So, I would be disappointed if I don't see any Xerxes minutes. I hope that he would start, but I wasn't optimistic that he would start. I do hope that he sees at least 20 minutes. Amad Diallo, my star boy, the kid that's going to take us to the top, he is starting today. And I'm so happy. This is his chance, man. This year is his year. Last year should have been his year. But, Ten Hag... Listen, Ten Hag, there's a lot of sins for Ten Hag to atone, man. You know what I'm saying? One of them being Amad Diallo and his treatment of Amad Diallo. But Amad Diallo, with his persistence, his drive, his attitude, and his just downright God-given footballing ability, has found his way towards becoming a starter for Manchester United. And I hope that he balls out today because I really do want him to hold down that starting right-hand side. I think he deserves it. And I think he's going to perform, man. I have no doubts in his ability. I have no doubts on what he's able to do on a football pitch. So I'm really excited to see that. I'm really excited to see how he performs. Garnacho off the bench, that's a good little option as well. You saw how he performed off the bench against Man City in the Community Shield. I think that's the right role for him, an impact sub, somebody who can go up against tired legs, the way he's able to exploit space with his pace, his directness. You need that off the bench, man. I don't think he's as effective starting as he is coming off the bench. So I like that move. Marcus Rashford, once again being given a start on the left-hand side, and he was always going to start. But listen, Marcus, man, it's a big year for you, bro. Last year was disastrous, and you're at that age now where you're not the star boy anymore. You're not the new kid on the block. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not enamoured by you like we used to be. And I say we, I just speak as United fans in general. Me, personally, I have a love-hate relationship with Rashford. I see the qualities that he does have. I see the ability that he does have. The raw physicality that he does have. And at times he's been able to put it together. But my constant criticism of Marcus Rashford is his decision-making is subpar. His IQ of the game is terrible. And his game hasn't really changed. He hasn't really developed upon his game. He's still the same sort of player he was as when he first broke onto the scene. And for me, that's an issue, especially when you're 27 now. This is your 10th season as a United player, as a United starter. You really need to ball out this season. You need to put up numbers this season. And honestly, I need to see an improvement in your performance. Because I've seen Rashford put up numbers and his performances have been just as terrible. You know, I want to see improvements in his performance. I want to see him understanding the game a bit better. And that's going to be difficult because when you're at that age, 27, you're stuck in your ways for the most part. You know, if those sort of mistakes aren't rectified early on, it just becomes habit. And I'm afraid, I'm scared that these things have become habit for Marcus Rashford. Right? So I want Rashford to perform, because if Rashford performs, we do well. United do well as a team. We will achieve the objectives that we want to achieve, you know? But it's a big, big season for Marcus Rashford, man. You ain't the new kid on the block no more, man. You ain't the new kid on the block no more. Time's running out. You see all these young kids pulling up, man. You see Amad Diallo out here, man. Amad Diallo, Garnacho, these young boys are hungry. And I don't even think Garnacho is anywhere near the player Rashford is. But Amad Diallo is, for me, he's a star, bro. Given the game time, he's going to be a star. And honestly, if I'm Rashford, I'm sleeping with one eye open, because you know you have to perform this season. Especially after how last season went, with the way United fans for the first time ever really turning on Marcus Rashford, questioning his commitment. So he needs to come out all guns blazing against Fulham today. I'd love to see him get a goal, get on the score sheet. I think he really needs that. I think he really needs to start the season off well. Rashford is the ultimate confidence player. You know, and if he can start the season with some decent production, it will benefit him in the long run. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, the midfields, again, we all know about the midfields. Kobe, Casemiro, obviously Bruno, Mount. The midfield was our biggest issue last season, especially when we were playing Casemiro and Bruno and Kobe. There were no legs in the midfield. We were getting overrun. You had the likes of Eriksen, washed up, old, no more legs. Midfield is still a worry for me, because we haven't really upgraded. We've upgraded in defence with the likes of De Ligt, with the likes of Mazraoui, who I'm going to be excited to see get some minutes today. But that midfield for me still remains the biggest concern, just because we have an ageing midfield. We lack physicality in that midfield. We lack athleticism in that midfield. And the technical floor of the midfield is still fairly low. Outside of Kobe Mainoo, technically, we don't have the greatest midfield. We don't. So that's going to be something to keep an eye out on. You know, I don't want to see us repeating the same mistakes from last season, and the midfield parting like the Red Sea and just being barren and overran it constantly. I don't want to see that, because last season we just saw far too many teams just come up to Old Trafford, or when we played them away, just absolutely dominate our midfield because there was nobody there to combat them. I don't want to see that today. So listen, I'm optimistic going into the game today against Fulham. I want to see a resounding, dominant performance. I won't be happy with a. Listen, of course I'm going to be happy with a win. A win is a win. But I'm not going to lie to you and sit here and say I'll be happy if it's not a great performance, if we just barely win, or if we, it's a smash and grab, because we saw that far too many times last season. We saw us win games that we didn't deserve to win. We played poorly throughout the season. I want us to start the season right. I want us to start the season playing football. I want to see that Erik ten Hag has actually made some real changes, has actually developed. Because Erik ten Hag is another one that's in last chance saloon, man. He can't afford to have a bad start to the season. So here's to hoping that we have a great dominant performance against Fulham today and we kickstart the season in the way that we want to. Looking forward to the game. Kicks off in 50 minutes. So yeah, I had to just, sling the quick preview. And I'll be dropping a video after the game as well, just to give my reaction. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Unoriginal FC, over and out.